I'm Julia Martin for Advanced Careers in Dental Hygiene 2016. I would like to introduce my guest, Kim Laudenslager.
Hi.
Kim, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell me a little bit more about what your career is.
All right. I'm a dental hygienist, and I graduated in 1979 in Boston from Forsyth, and then came out to Boulder, Colorado, got my bachelor's, and then went on and got my master's in public administration. And I've taught at the University of Colorado School of Dental Medicine for 33 years. Been in private practice part-time that entire time. It's varied from no more than 3 days. I've never worked more than 3 days in private practice. So I've left the 2 days to do other things, which I think is what we're talking about.
Wonderful. So tell me a little bit more about your education. Did you end up getting the bachelor's and the master's to pursue this path, or was that just, how did it become the foundation for where you are now?
I wanted to teach. So I had to get a degree higher than my students, and teaching at University of Colorado, it's a baccalaureate program, so I knew I needed my master's. So I went for an associate degree program, straight on, and got my bachelor's and then my master's. So 6 years, because I did an internship during the master's program, so that's how I've been teaching for 33 years. So I didn't need the master's or the bachelor's, and maybe even, I don't even know that I needed a dental hygiene degree to do the Osha, which is what you're going to focus on today.
Exactly. I was hoping you could tell me a little bit more about your Osha seminars and the education you provide, and even a little bit about what kind of day-to-day activities does that entail?
Okay. Well, first, to say I've been doing it for 20-some years. So to go back to the mid-'80s is when HIV was hitting our country.
Yeah.
And I, at the time, chaired the Quality Assurance Committee, I still do, for the Colorado Dental Hygiene Association. So I was helping keep people abreast of fluorides and radiology standards and perio standards, and then all of a sudden all this infection control hit. So I was asked, just because I was chair of this committee, to sit on another committee to develop an Osha course. And it was dental hygiene, dental assisting who put this course together. So yes, I'm a dental hygienist. And yes, I grew the business, because what happened is after that one course was done, it wasn't enough. And there was a need, since OSHA requires annual training, to have it continue. So to make a long story short, I built my own business, Laudenslager Seminars. And my background in teaching, I've been on the State Board of Dental Examiners 2 terms, so I knew about regulation. It just set me up to do this type of course.
Yeah, you really almost led right into my next question, which was, what other kind of training or certification did you feel like you needed to be able to provide those OSHA seminars?
Well, if you talk to my other colleagues around the country who do exactly what I do, Eve Cooney is a good example. She is at the UOP, University of Pacific in California. She's a dental assistant, but she was in charge of the dental infection control for the whole school. So she, like myself, we joined an organization called OSAP, and it's an organization of dental professionals dedicated to infection control. So you, like yourself, I think you have a passion for infection control. So do a lot of us around the country. So there's an organization that is designed specifically for those of us with that passion. And yeah, I've been an active member of that for years. And that gave me the foundation to do what I'm doing.
That's so great, because I was even going to ask you what other professional organizations or even what other healthcare professionals kind of supported you in your role. You mentioned Colorado Dental Hygiene Association, you mentioned OSAP, so it really sounds like they had an integral part in that. Do you have any other kind of integrated healthcare people in your OSHA right now, or is it primarily dental?
I focus on dental, but part of this whole thing, bloodborne pathogens, isn't just dental. So I do have a lot of colleagues in medicine and nursing, but because a good part of the course is not just bloodborne pathogens and HAZCOM, which is OSHA, it's infection control. So that's where my expertise and yours would be, turning the operatory, sterilizing instruments, and that you have to pretty much be specific. So that's where the focus is.
I completely agree with you, and it makes so much sense when it's integrated into that day-to-day dental that we do. So I'm really passionate about infection control myself. I see myself bringing infection control and OSHA training into any dental hygiene career that I have. What advice would you have for someone who wanted to become an OSHA trainer or be the OSHA officer at their office or a dental facility?
Perfect. So first of all, the CDC just released this last year an updated summary of the guidelines for infection control, and they've recommended this before, but they're focusing on the need to have one person in charge, and so I'm actually lecturing on that this year, and OSAP is a big part of that, and because they have so many resources, and they have a boot camp in January, which is a week-long training. It's in Atlanta, and then their annual symposium. So you can't just go to one or two courses and do it. You need to have that, again, a little bit more intense training.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Finally, where do you see OSHA and infection control and the standards going into the future? Are there any big changes on the horizon?
Yes, I think another great question, because emerging infectious diseases, we continue to see that.
Oh, yeah.
And then I will lecture about that again today.
Wonderful.
And then airborne pathogens. So we focus on bloodborne pathogens, but I think you're going to hear today in my seminar that there's possibility of airborne pathogens, and then that's going to really set dentistry in a big world of hurt. And then secondly, we've got re-emerging infectious diseases where parents who are choosing not to vaccinate their children. So we have
Absolutely.
a lot going on in the world of infection control that is going to impact dentistry.
Well, Kim, thank you so much for interviewing with me today.
Yes.
I learned so much about exactly what I wanted to know, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you and your passion as well.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
I'm Julia Martin. Thanks so much for watching.